Hello students, in this session you are going to learn 12th standard computer science 4th chapter algorithmic strategies. The main concept you are going to learn in this session: algorithmic strategies, complexity of an algorithm, efficiency of an algorithm, algorithm for searching techniques, linear search and binary search.
What do you mean by algorithm? Algorithm is nothing but step-by-step instructions. Step-by-step instruction is called as algorithm. What do you mean by algorithmic strategy? The way of defining algorithm is known as what? If the way of defining algorithm is known as algorithmic strategy. Okay. An algorithm is a finite set of instructions to accomplish a particular task. An algorithm is a finite set of instructions. Finite set of instructions means what? Set of procedures. Step-by-step procedures are called finite set of instructions to accomplish a particular task means what? For solving a particular task or particular problem. Okay. So this algorithm must have input and output. Okay. This algorithm is maintained by data structures. So the algorithms are maintained and manipulated effectively in data structures. What do you mean by data structure? A data structure is a particular way of organizing data in computer so that it can be used effectively. Okay. For example, if you want to store list of data items, we can store it in data structures. Okay. The example for data structures are what? Arrays. We can store arrays in data structure, and structures. We can store structures in data structure, and list, tuples, and dictionary. This all will be stored in the data structure. Okay. By using data structure, you can search, sort, insert, update, and delete data items. Okay. So how will you search the data items in data structure? Using linear and binary search, you can search the data items in data structures. Okay. So next, sort. Sorting means what? Arrange the data items in a order. So how will you arrange the data items? Using bubble sort, insertion sort, and selection sort. So what do you mean by insert? You can add or insert new data item in data structure. Okay. Update means what? You can update existing data item in data structure. Delete means you can delete existing data items from the data structure. Okay. So next let us see about characteristics of an algorithm. An algorithm should have the characteristics of input. The algorithm should have the value 0 or more than one quantity. It should have 0 or more than one quantity. Okay. Next is output. An algorithm should produce at least one quantity in the output. Okay. So next, finiteness. What do you mean by finiteness? Finite means what? Limited. The algorithms must terminate after the finite number of steps. Okay. So next, definiteness, which means what? Well defined. So all the operations in an algorithm should be well defined. Okay. All the operations in an algorithm should be clearly defined. So next, effectiveness. In an algorithm, every instructions must be created effectively. So next characteristics is what? Correctness. The algorithm should be error free. Okay. So next, simplicity. Simplicity means the algorithm should be executed or implemented easily. Okay. It should be easy to implement. So that is simplicity. Next, unambiguous. Unambiguous means what? Which means clear. The algorithm should be clear and ambiguous. So each of its steps, input and output, should be clear. Okay. Next, feasibility. Feasibility means what? Which means possibility. So it should be feasible with the available resources. Next, portable. an operating system able to handle all the range of inputs. Okay. And last characteristic is independent. Okay. It should be independent because it having step-by-step instructions. So it should be independent of any programming code. Okay.
Now coming to the next topic, writing an algorithm. Let us see about how to write an algorithm and what is the difference between program and algorithm. Okay. So what do you mean by algorithm? Algorithm is nothing but step-by-step instructions that are required to accomplish a task. If you are taking any work, before the starting work, you must know the procedures for how to do that work. Then only you will be able to do that work properly. Okay. If you don't know the procedures, if you don't know the instructions, you can't do that work properly. So the same thing we are using here. Before writing a program, you need to write the procedure on how to execute it. Okay. So that procedures are called algorithms. We are using algorithm in various real-time activities. In our daily life, we performing many algorithms such as packing books in bag, preparing for exam, and whatever the activities you are doing in your daily life, that all the activities only based on the algorithm. In a computer, a typical algorithm has input, process, and output. Okay, so computer accepts the input and process that input and produces the output based on this input. Okay, so now let us see one real life example. Suppose you want to make a coffee. What are the ingredients are needed to make a coffee? Milk, coffee powder, sugar, and water. So we take these ingredients as input. Now what are you going to do? You are going to make a coffee. Okay, so preparing a cup of coffee is called a process. Okay, then what is the output? The output is a coffee. So let's see the procedure for preparing coffee. First take a bowl with the coffee powder and boil the water and mix it into the bowl. Then filter it using filter, and next boil milk. After that mix sugar. Okay, next mix with the filtered coffee with the boiled milk. After that pour the coffee into the cup to serve. Okay, so these are the procedure we are using to make a coffee. So this kind of procedure can be represented using an algorithm. Okay, so the algorithm consists of step-by-step instructions that are required to accomplish a task. Next, let us see the difference between algorithm and program. The algorithm helps to solve a given problem logically, and it can be contrasted with the program. What does it mean? This algorithm solves the problems in a logical way. So there is a contrast between algorithm and program. It solves the problem in a logical way, in a logical approach. Whereas the program is an expression of algorithm. Okay, this program is expressed by the algorithm. Okay, the program is what? It is the expression of a algorithm in a programming language. Okay, next point, algorithm can be categorized based on their implementation methods and design techniques. So the algorithms can be classified execution methods and design techniques. So the program can be implemented by structured and object-oriented programming approach. Structured programming means C programming language is the structured programming language. What is the object-oriented programming language? Python. C++ is a structured and object-oriented programming language. So next point, there is no specific rules for algorithm writing, but some guidelines should be followed. There is no rule to write algorithm. Okay, so the algorithm has no specific rules, but program should be written for the selected language with specific syntax. Program having rules. The program should be written by using programming languages only with the specific syntax. If you are giving wrong syntax, then it displays the error. Okay, so you should follow the rules. Last point, the algorithm resembles pseudocode which can be implemented in any language. Algorithm is an idea about how to write the code, okay, but the pseudocode is what? Pseudocode is written text. You need to communicate that idea. So we will write the pseudocode in plain English. It describes how to implement an algorithm without getting into synthetical details. It implemented later into any programming languages, okay. Whereas the program is more specific to the programming language. Program is always more specific, okay. So an algorithm is a set of instructions to perform a specific task in a logical way, okay. That is algorithm. Whereas the program is also a set of instructions to perform a specific task by using the programming language, okay. So when you comparing algorithm and program, which one is easy to understand? Algorithm, okay. Algorithm is easy to understand because there is no rules in algorithm, okay. There is no syntax, there is no rules. But in program, there is a rule and there is a syntax. You should follow that rules and syntax. Program is the implementation of algorithm. Implementation of algorithm is called program, okay. So this is the comparison between algorithm and program. Next, let us see about analysis of algorithm. This analysis of algorithm defines how many programming instructions executed per operation, okay. So it deals with the running and execution time of operations. The analysis of algorithm can be calculated as how many programming instructions executed per operation. That is called analysis of algorithm. Okay, so this analysis of algorithm is divided into two different phases. What are they? A priori estimate and a posteriori estimates. These two are mainly used to estimate the performance of the algorithm. Okay, priori estimates is the theoretical performance analysis and posteriori estimates means performance measurement. So in this a priori estimates, efficiency of an algorithm is measured by assuming external factors, okay, because it is a theoretical performance analysis. But in posteriori estimates, running time and algorithm executions are collected. So it is called performance measurement, okay. So this is called analysis of algorithm. Next topic, complexity of an algorithm. What do you mean by complexity of an algorithm? The complexity of algorithm is defined as f of n. The faster algorithm is considered to be the better algorithm. So the algorithm which takes least amount of time and takes less memory space is considered as better algorithm. Okay. So when will you call the algorithm as better algorithm? Whenever the algorithm takes less time and less memory space, then we can say that the performance of algorithm is good. Okay. The algorithm performance can be analyzed by using two techniques. What are they? Space complexity and time complexity. What do you mean by space complexity? Amount of memory space required to execute the algorithm, which means the amount of memory space that is used to execute the algorithm. How much memory space needed to execute that algorithm is called what? Space complexity. Okay. What is time complexity? Number of steps taken by the algorithm, to complete the process, which means how much time it consumes to execute the program. How much time the program will take during its execution, that is called time complexity. Time is measured by counting number of operations in an algorithm. What do you mean by time factor? It is measured by counting number of operations in an algorithm. Okay. Space factor means space is measured by the maximum memory space required by the algorithm. That is called the space factor. Okay. The space complexity has two components. What are they? First one is fixed part. Second one is what? Variable part. Fixed part means the total space needed to store the data and variables. It describes the total space needed to store the variables and data. Okay. But in variable part, total space needed by the variables, it depends on the problem and its iterations. Okay. For example, when you want to calculate the factorial of the given number using recursion function, you can store that problem in this part. Okay. Next, efficiency of an algorithm. What do you mean by efficiency of an algorithm? This efficiency of algorithm is defined as number of computational resources used by the algorithm. So, the efficiency of an algorithm is defined by the number of computational resources used by the algorithm. Resources means what? Time and space are called as resources. So, the algorithm can be measured based on the usage of different resources. For getting more efficiency of an algorithm, we should minimize the resource usage. What do you mean by time efficiency? How will you use the time resource in efficient manner? If you want to execute the program, how much time it takes to complete its execution, that is called time efficiency. Okay. This time efficiency depends on number of factors such as speed of the machine, operating system, compiler and other system software tools, programming language and so on. Okay. So if you want to efficiently solve a given problem, you would like to determine how the execution time is affected by the nature of the algorithm. Okay. So this is the efficiency of an algorithm. Next, let us see space-time trade-off. Space-time trade-off means what? It is the way of solving in less time by using more memory space or else spending more time by using little memory space. Which means if an algorithm is executed in less time, that algorithm is called time efficient. If an algorithm requires less memory space is called space efficient. Okay. So here some algorithms may be extremely time efficient and some algorithms are extremely space efficient. But what do you mean by best algorithm? If an algorithm which takes less time to execute and it requires less memory space, that algorithm is called as best algorithm. Okay. But in space-time trade-off, some algorithms are extremely time efficient and some algorithms are extremely space efficient. Okay. Because some algorithms requires less time and more memory space, but some algorithms requires more time and little memory space. So this is called space-time trade-off. So next topic, asymptotic notations. What do you mean by asymptotic notations? Asymptotic notations are nothing but the languages, okay, that uses meaningful statements about time and space complexity. So there are three algorithms mostly used to represent time complexity of algorithms. What are they? Big O, big omega and big theta. These three algorithms are used to represent time complexity of algorithms. So what do you mean by big O? It is used to describe worst case algorithms. It is called as worst case algorithm because it describes upper bound of any algorithm. What do you mean by big omega? It is the reverse of big O. Okay. Opposite of big O. Big O is worst case algorithm. Then big omega means what? Best case algorithm. Big O is described in upper bound, but big omega is described in lower bound. Okay. What do you mean by big theta? It is the average case algorithm. Okay. So it is defined in between big O and big omega, which means it is defined between lower bound and upper bound. So it is expressed as order of n log n. Okay. So big O is worst case, big omega is best case, and big theta is average case. So now let us see one example for worst case and best case and average case efficiency of an algorithm. Okay. So let us assume a list of numbers stored in an array. What do you mean by array? Array is a collection of homogeneous elements. Okay. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. These elements are stored in an array. 10 is the first element, 20 is the second element, 30 is the third element, 40 is the fourth element, 50 is the fifth element, and 60 is the sixth element. Collection of elements stored in an array. If you want to search a particular number in this list, which means if you want to search the number 10 in the list, you compare that number with each element in the list. Okay, so compare this value with the first element. Okay, this is 10, this is also 10. Okay, so if the first element in the list matches with the key element, it is called as best case efficiency, because there is only one comparison is enough. So it is expressed as order of 1. Okay, you found the key element 10, first place in the list. So this is called best case efficiency of an algorithm. Next, if you want to search the key element 60, you can compare that value one by one with the each element in the list. Okay, so if this key element found at the end of the list, otherwise the 60 is not found in the list, which means if you want to search a key element 70 is not there in the list. Okay, so if the key element is found at the end of the list or not found in the list, that is worst case efficiency, because it needs lot of comparisons. First you compare the key element 60 with this 10, next 20, next 30, next 40, next 50. At the end, this last element matches with the key element. So there are too many comparisons. Okay, many comparisons. So this is called worst case efficiency. So it expressed as order of n, because lot of comparisons, n number of comparisons are there. Okay, so it is expressed as order of n. Okay, so next, what do you mean by average case efficiency? In between best case and worst case, the finding the average number of comparison is called average case efficiency. Okay, in this average case, there is average comparisons between minimum and maximum comparisons. Okay, so minimum comparisons means what? Minimum comparisons means best case, that is order of 1. Okay, so minimum comparisons is 1. Next, maximum comparisons what? N. This is worst case. The average number of comparisons expressed as n plus 1 divided by 2. So here n is a linear function. So it is expressed as, this average comparison is expressed as order of n. Coming to the next topic, algorithm for searching techniques. This algorithm for searching techniques is divided into two types. What are they? Linear search and binary search. Now let us see about linear search. What do you mean by linear search? Linear search is also known as sequential search. It is also known as sequential search. This linear search is used for finding the particular value in a list. So if you want to search a particular value in the list in a sequential way, you can use this linear search technique. Okay, so this method checks the search element with each element in the list one by one until the desired key element is found. So let us see one example. Okay, then you clearly understand about linear search. Here one example is given. This is a list of elements. Okay, 10, 12, 20, 25, 30. These elements are stored in an array. So collection of homogeneous elements are called array. Okay, so the collection of numbers stored in an array. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the index position of each value. In array, the index positions are always starts from 0. Okay, so the first element is stored in the index position 0. Next element is stored in index position 1. Third element stored in index position 2. In this array, if you want to search the number 25, okay, this is the key element, your search element. Okay, if you want to search the number 25 in the array, the linear search will go step by step in a sequential order starting from the first element in the given array. Okay, which means here we have to start our search from the starting element. So check each element one by one. Okay, compare first value 10 with the target value 25. So this is not same. So next, go to next element, okay. Check this element, 25, 12, not same, okay. So go for next. Next 20, 25, not same, okay. Go for next. This is 25. This is also 25. So here we found the search value. So it returns the index position of that element in the output, okay. What is the index position of 25? 3. So it returns the index position what? 3, okay. Suppose this 25 is not there in the list, which means key element is not there in the list, the search will be continued till the end. So if you found the key element, you have to stop your search. Otherwise, you continue your search, okay. See the next example. Here the input values, which means collection of elements are given. 5, 34, 65, 12, 77, 35. Okay. Now we are going to search key element 77. Okay. 77. Our target value, our key element value is what? 77. So now you have to search the key element 77, each element in the list one by one. Okay. So check the 77 with the 5. Not same, okay. Next 34, not same. Next 65, not same. Next 12, not same. Next 77, so this is also 77. So it is same. So you found that element 77 in the list, okay. So now what you will do? You have to return the index position of the 77 in the output screen. Array index positions are always starts from 0, okay. First element is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. What is the index position of 77? 4, okay. So output is what? 4. Output is 4. This is one example. Next, another one example is given. Input values are given, which means collection of elements 101, 392, 154, 32, 22, 90, 93. Here you have to search your target value 200. So you have to search the search element with each element in the list one by one. 200, 101, not same. 392, not same. 1, not same. 54, not same. 32, not same. 22, not same. 90, not same. 93, not same. So none of the elements are matched with the search element, okay, key element. So what is the output of this code? Output is element not found. This is the output. So here you have two cases, okay. First case is element is present. Next case is element is not present. If element is present, you have to print the index position of that element in the output. If the element is not present, the program should print element not found in the output, okay. So now let us see the pseudocode for linear search, okay. Traverse the array using for loop. What do you mean by for loop? Here same set of statements repeated again and again. So same set of actions we are using again and again until the search element is found, okay. Which means we are searching the key element in a list again and again until the desired element is found. So for this purpose we are using for loop, okay. In every iteration compare the target search value with the current value of the list, okay. In every iteration we are comparing the search element with each element in the list, okay. There are two cases. If the values match, display the current index and value of the array. Next, second case is what? If the values do not match, move on the next array element, okay. If the values do not match, we go to the next element in the list. So we will continue our search until the end, okay. Third point, if there is no match element is found in the list, it displays in the output search element is not found. This is about linear search. Now coming to the next topic, binary search. So the linear search and binary search are the searching techniques. What is the difference between linear search and binary search? The difference is in linear search we don't need to give array in the sorted order. But in binary search, we must give the elements of the array in a sorted order. Then only you can apply the binary search in that array, okay. Otherwise, you cannot apply the binary search in that array, okay. And the another difference is, in linear search, we have to search the element from the beginning, one by one. So it will take more time. But in binary search, you have to start your search from the middle element. So it will take less time to complete the search. This is the difference between linear and binary search. So let us see. What is the binary search? Binary search is also called as half interval search algorithm. Linear search is also called as what? Sequential search, okay. But binary search is also called as half interval search, because here we are starting our search with the middle element. The elements are divided into two halves. It is used to find the position of a search element within a sorted array. So the array should be sorted, okay. If the elements are not sorted, then you cannot apply the binary search to that array. And next point, it can be done by, this binary search can be done by divide and conquer search algorithm, okay. In binary search, you are dividing the array elements in two halves. So you call it as divide and conquer search algorithm, okay. Let us see the pseudocode of binary search. So first we have to start with the middle element. Not from the beginning, you start with the middle element. So how will you find the middle element? Using mid formula. Using mid formula, you can find out the middle element, okay. In next point, three cases are there, okay. What are they? First case is, if the search element is equal to the middle element of the array, then return the index position of the middle element, which means you found your search element, okay. So you print the index position of that element in the output. You stop your searching process here because you got the output. So you have to stop here the search, okay. Otherwise, compare the middle element with the search element. How will you compare? If the search element is greater than the middle element, then select the elements to the right side of the middle element, okay. Search element is less than middle element. You have to select the elements to the left side of the middle index, okay. After that, go to step 1. Again go to the step 1. Step 1 means what? Again find out the middle element. How will you find the middle element? Using mid formula, okay. Do the same procedure again and again until your search element is found. After that, when a match is found, display the success message with the index of the element matched. So when you found the element, you will get the index position of that element in the output. If no match is found, which means your search value is not available in that list for all comparisons, then it will display the unsuccessful message. Unsuccessful message means what? The element is not found. That is the unsuccessful message, okay. If you found the element, you will get the success message with the index position of that element, okay? If none of the elements are matched, it will display the unsuccessful message, okay. So this is the pseudocode for the binary search. So let us see one example. This is the array. The collection of elements are given here. The index position of these elements 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the index positions. You can see here the elements are sorted, which means elements are given in the ascending order, lowest value to highest value, okay. So the list of sorted elements are given in the list. So now let us assume, suppose you are going to search the element 60, okay. Now you are going to search the element 60 and you have to find out the index position of this search element using binary search. So let us see the step-by-step operations of binary search. Here you have to start with the middle element. So how will you find the middle element? For that you have to find out the index position of the middle element using mid formula. What is the mid formula? Mid is equal to low plus high minus low divided by 2. Okay, this is the mid formula for finding the middle element. This low means what? Lowest index position, okay. This high means highest index position. The lowest index value is what? 0. Highest index value is 9. So 9 minus lowest index value 0 divided by 2. 0 plus 9 by 2 is equal to 9 by 2 means what? 4.5. So you can avoid the fractional parts here. You don't take fractional parts. So mid is what? 4. This is the lowest position. This is the highest position. L means low, H means high. So this 4 is the mid value of this array. Okay. So see here which element is present at the index position 4? 50. This is the middle element. But your search element is what? 60. So here you have to check 3 cases. What are they? First case is search value is what? 60 is equal to 50. Second case is search element is greater than 50. And third case is search element is less than 50. You have to check these cases. Which one is true? 60 is equal to 50. This is not true. And 60 is greater than the 50. This case is true. So 60 is greater than 50. If the search element is greater than the middle element, then we select the elements on the right side of the middle element. Okay. So you have to select the right side elements. You skip the elements to the left side of that middle element. Okay. So middle element is what? 50. Okay. This is the middle element. So you have to select the elements to the right side of the middle element. Okay. Now you have to start from here. Now our new lowest value is what? 5. Here you have to write low is equal to mid plus 1. So this is the lowest value and this is highest value. You skip the left side elements from the middle element. Okay. So you have to take these elements 60, 70, 80, 90, 99. Now again find out the middle element. How will you find? Using this mid formula. Mid formula is what? Mid is equal to low plus high minus low divided by 2. This is the lowest index position. This is highest index position. So now we are going to find out the mid value. Okay. So now our new mid is what? 7. Okay. See here. Our new mid is 7. Which element is stored in the index position 7? 80. Okay. So this is the middle element. Here this low is what? Mid plus 1. Because the lowest value increased and this lowest value comes after the mid. So this low becomes mid plus 1. So this is the lowest value, this is highest value. Now check these conditions. Okay. What is the middle element now? 80. And what is your search element? 60. So check these cases. First is 60 is equal to 80. This is not true. Then 60 is greater than 80. No, this is also not true. Then 60 is less than 80. Yes, this is true. Okay, 60 is less than 80. So, if search element is less than the middle number, then we select the elements to the left side of the middle index. Okay. So, you have to select the elements left side. Okay. And skip the elements on the right side. Skip these elements. Okay. Okay. You select this elements only. Okay. 60, 70. So now you have only 2 elements. Okay. Now you follow the same procedure again. Here we have only these 2 elements. Okay. So high becomes mid minus 1 because the highest value decreases and the highest value comes before the mid. So the high becomes mid minus 1. Okay. So this is the lowest value. This is the highest value. So now I'm going to calculate mid formula. Mid is equal to what? Lowest value 5 plus highest value 6 minus lowest value 5 divided by 2. So 5 plus 1 by 2 is equal to 5. You don't take fractional values. So 5 is the index position. Our new mid is what? 5. Okay. See here which value is stored in the index position 5, 60. So now you have to check the condition. Which condition is true? This is. So we found the search element. Okay, this is the search element. Its index position is what? Its index position is 5. So here you stop your search because you found your search value. So now we conclude that the search element 60 is found at the location 5, which means found at the index position 5. So here we got the successful result. But if you want to search the element 95, see here 95 is not available in this list. For this value, this binary search algorithm returns unsuccessful result. Okay. So this is about the binary search. Thank you, students.